So Empty Cup is kind of like an operatic track. Of all the songs, it's the one that I wanted to sound the absolute biggest, because in the order of the EP, I'm planning for it to be the last song, the sort of conclusion song. In the short film that we filmed with my brother, it's the sort of closing song. So I wanted it to feel like a big operatic goodbye in a way. I call this my surrender song. It's the letting go, the moment of letting go. And so I just wanted it to feel like it had a lot of momentum and yeah, very symphonic, very operatic, very big is what I wanted. So at the core of this song, we have the drums and the bass. So the bass is very, very plucky, and that's what I wanted for this. So we're gonna just take a listen to both of those together. Yeah, so I wanted a bass for this that would be, the French word comes to me, like percutant. I wanted it to cut through what I knew would be a very layered arrangement in terms of synths. I didn't just want a bass line that would support the melody. I wanted it to really pack a punch and be noticed in the mix. And then the drum groove is pretty simple. I wonder what I had done. My reference for this specific one was just a loop that I found that I thought sounded kind of cool, and that I had like initially when I was arranging this whole thing before I got drums on it. This is the beat that I was working to. Let's just listen to it by itself so you know what to look out for. And then I sent that to the drummer boy, and he sent me this. That's the drums and bass for at least this first part of the song. We'll come back to them, I'm sure. And now let's take a look at the synth. So the intro to this song, guess what it is? You'll never guess. It's a synth arpeggio. Let's listen to it. I say I really love a synth arpeggio. Maybe I'll have to cool it on the arpeggios for my next project, or maybe it's just going to become my thing, like my signature thing, reverb and synth arpeggios. That sounds like me. I mean, I'm okay with that. We'll see what happens, but we're not there yet. We're barely done with this. So we've got the synth arpeggio that starts the song by itself. And as soon as the drum and bass come in, we've got more elements. Yep, we have these synth chords. Again, this is like the operatic side of this track. It's like even the synth has a vibrato. All right, and then we are getting to the first pre-chorus here, where we first get our backup vocals to join us. So this is what the backup vocals are doing, this nice little sigh. So that's what the backup vocals are doing. Of course, they're panned left and right. I mean, it wouldn't be a Reine song if there weren't like a bunch of panned backup vocals. So that's what that little pre-chorus sounds like. And the thing is, you might be thinking to yourself, I've had enough of the synth arpeggios. But I haven't. So I added more in this section. Let's check them out. Let's check them out. You know, I can do what I want. I have free will, and this is my video. So yeah, in terms of synths, for this pre-chorus, we have the same couple synths I pointed out before. This little synth chord vibrato. We have got, on top of that, the main synth arpeggio that I showed you before. I'm arting.
You're arting?
Yeah.
That's lovely.
It's taking so long. I've been at it for literally 3 hours.
I love the setup.
Oh, my back. I'm really putting my back into it.
That's cool. I've been hearing
Bits and bobs.
mostly just whenever you go soprano. Like,
Oh.
you just hear like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I was imitating a synth that goes vibrato. Because you know how I have no technical proficiency? I have to explain things like, this is my vibrato synth that goes, oh.
It goes, oh.
What was I doing? Oh, that's all we've got actually, synth-wise. That's it really for that little verse. Let's move on to the chorus. So the chorus is like a big instrumental moment. There's a lot of backup vocals, but there's no lead. It's supposed to be just like a big symphonic instrumental. Let's take a listen to it and then we'll dissect it. Instrumental chorus as it was initially planned. There were no guitars planned and there were no brass synths planned, and this is what it would have sounded like, and to me it just sounded anticlimactic a little bit. Like, it's definitely good and pretty and beautiful, and I think it would have been fine on its own, but there was something to it that made me feel like the vision was absolutely there for the section, but there was a little bit of juice missing. So yeah, to counterbalance that theremin synth, I decided to bring in the brass synth, and this is what that sounds like. I really wasn't planning on having electric guitar on any of the tracks initially. That was not in my vision for the project. But when I got to the absolute tail end of the production and everything else had been arranged and everything else had been recorded and it was all in place, almost out of morbid curiosity, but also out of an intuitive feeling that in the same way that I wanted a bit of humanity with a human playing real drums to compensate for the fact that so much of this project is MIDI instrumentation, there was also a part of me that was like, I'd really like to bring in, a little extra humanity in this and have a human being play the electric guitar. And in this instance, I think that the guitars make a huge difference actually as well in the sort of symphonic vision that I had for these instrumental choruses. So that's what it sounds like with the guitar. In this chorus, instrumental chorus, we've got the same two synths that I mentioned before that are in the verses. So we have the vibrato synth. We have the arpeggio synth. But we also have another arpeggio synth that has a little extra brightness compared to the first one. And then there's another arpeggio synth when the chorus starts that goes like this. There's another one, and this is just like a synth pad. So if we were to listen just to all the synths here, and now we are going into the next verse. Pretty much the same as the first verse. I think the only difference in terms of production is that there's this arpeggio synth here that's playing during the verse. It's playing the second verse, but in the first one, it is absent. So there's just a little bit more juice in the arpeggio, but everything else is basically the same.
And now we are back on the last pre-chorus of the song before things get really, really big. Now for this pre-chorus, it's a lot more stripped back than the first pre-chorus because I want to collapse the song a little bit, make it nice and quiet, make it nice and intimate before it sort of explodes again and gets really big, like a little moment of respite and quiet and introspection. So that's what this is. And so it gets a little bit smaller before it explodes again. And this is what it sounds like. So you can hear that it gets bigger as we progress through that section, and it starts out really small. And the way that I did that, so initially the drums are mixed in a way that they are a little bit smaller, more contained, a little bit more muffled and drawn back. Right before, we've got the drums like this. And then it gets smaller. And as we progress through this section leading into the final chorus, it starts to get bigger. And to open up again. And find its full breadth. That's the drums. There's no bass in this section, but we've got guitar. In terms of synths, we're starting out mostly just with this little vibrato synth pad. And then we've got the arpeggio synth that comes through. And this other one that also comes to play. And the bass that comes back in also at this stage. I think what really makes the absolute biggest difference in this last big instrumental chorus is the drum performance. And this is particularly why for this song, I was like, I cannot imagine not having a live drummer on this, because I wanted the drums to be so big, to just almost be like too much. Just loads of cymbal crashes, loads of energy, just like, I just wanted the drums to be huge. I wanted the drums to be front and center in those sections, like almost like the drum performer is the main performer in these instrumental choruses. The main difference, I would say, between this chorus and the first one is that I had explicitly said to the drummer that I worked with that I wanted both choruses to sound really big, but that I wanted the first chorus to sound smaller than the big chorus. It's like if there was a dial in terms of drum performance intensity, I wanted it to be at like, I don't know, 50% during the verses, 70% during the first instrumental chorus, and then like 150% during this last chorus. So even more like cymbal crashes, even more drum fills. Like I almost wanted him to overdo it. And in fact, I kind of had to ask him to overdo it because we had a back and forth with several different versions of the drums for this track. And the first few versions, it's like the groove was correct, but these instrumental choruses were really lacking the intensity that I wanted. I wanted it to be so
big, and it took us a few goes to get it right. But ultimately, we did get it right, and he did end up sending me a performance that I thought was so beautifully done. Maybe we should just listen to it. but I love the drums on this song. I think they're just spectacular.
This is the best I can do.
Just so nice. I love those drums. And then we end the song. I didn't want to like abruptly end it on like that last drum fill there. I could have, you know. You know, like I could have ended it right there, but there was a part of me that wanted to just like have a little bit of a soft landing before ending the song. So we like build this intensity. Like we have this huge, big, momentous instrumental moment. And then I didn't want this feeling of like the film ends and your heart is still racing kind of. I wanted it to be like your heart rate goes up and then there's a little soft pad and then it's over. And so that's why I added this little synth thing at the end. There we go. Basically, that is Empty Cup. Yeah, let's listen through.